Very good evening, or good afternoon for some of us, actually. All the Black Diamond footy fans out there, thank you for joining us. After a week's hiatus, I've come back to absolutely haunt Ashborg and Shane Darwin once again, but luckily from about 5,000 kilometres away today. How are we, gentlemen? I miss you guys. I miss you so much. Genuinely. There's no insincerity in that at all.
No, the feeling's mutual, mate. The feeling is absolutely mutual. It's been a long week without having a chat to you, blokes, I have to say.
Yeah,
been a very long week.
Last week. My week has been consisted of travelling across the vast continent of ours, across the Nullarbor Plain and up through Mount Isa, and even having a little encounter with some things called min-min lights. I don't know if you have any experience with min-min lights, boys, but I have. They seem to like to follow me around, not just in the outback, actually. They like to sometimes visit me at home too, I find. But after surviving that encounter with the other side, with the paranormal, I've arrived in Western Australia safe and sound. Sadly, I'm going to miss the final week of football of AFL Hunter Central Coast back there, but I'll be back in time for finals next week, which looks absolutely brilliant. But your capable hands have been so good all year, even without me, I find. So I'm looking forward to be able to watch another week of local footy action from the comfort of my armchair, about 5,000 kilometres away.
Yeah, very nice. And you've seen some interesting sights too, looking at your Facebook earlier today, Chop. So good to see you seeing a bit of Australia.
Yeah, I've seen a fair bit of it, mate. Absolutely. The mistake I made was the people that I was travelling with. I've come over to visit Tal, and the people I've travelled with is actually Tal's mum and her partner and their kids. And the mistake I made was not recognising the difference between Mount Isa and Mount Gambier. So I thought we were going to I thought they said we've got to stop off at Mount Isa. I went, no problem. It's on the way. That's fine. But little did I know Mount Isa's far north Queensland.
Yeah. Mount Isa's a long way from Perth.
A decent detour, my friend.
Who's aware of Australian geography, but nonetheless, I got here safely, albeit 5 days later than I thought I was going.
Only you, Chop, only you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Exactly. That's what they say. So, Ash, you've got some interesting news for us in some of the lower divisions. Is that right?
Yeah, mate. We were lucky enough, Shane and I, to cover the Brian Childs Cup Day at Singleton last weekend at Rose Point Park. It's the first time we'd been to Singleton in a fair while, actually, and they did the business against Maitland quite easily in the men's game by 74 points, and they secured the Brian Childs Cup, which is named after the aforementioned Brian Childs, who sadly passed away in a car accident about 10 years ago now, and Nathan and Josh, his brothers, and Pete were there to present the trophy or present the shield back to Singleton. I believe it's the 8th time out of 9 years they've won it, so big effort from them. And Luke Dunn was our bar raiser this week, the 18-year-old. I'm pretty sure he's 18, just out of high school. Played a brilliant game. What do you reckon, Shane?
Yeah, he was good. And Chop, the other thing you missed was the bag. We got a bag as well, so we thought about you.
Who do we owe thanks to for that?
That was Mitch Gaffney. Was dominant up for. He was absolutely on fire up in the forward line, and I think he kicked everything that came near him. So he got 5 for, which was a great effort. But yeah, Luke Dunn, really impressive game, wasn't it, Ash?
Yeah, loved his game. And Clancy Toole, who's from Muswellbrook originally, but he is making his home at Singleton this year. They've come on leaps and bounds, Singleton, after a very slow start to the year, and they're in the hunt for finals, as I'll quickly go through the rest of the games. Wyong and Nelson Bay would have been a great game to go to in plate, the two undefeated sides before last week, and Wyong absolutely touched them up by over 45 points, 81-33. They did the business away from home, and they're going to be favourites to take out the title. They're not playing next week because I believe Gosford have forfeited their game.
Are they also favourites to be the 8th team in Black Diamond Cup next year?
Oh, let's hope so, because they're Simon Smythe is definitely cooking something up at Wyong, that's for sure. And it's going to be a massive, if they get this right in the next 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to be a very big presentation night in about a month's time, with the women's plate winning the minor premiership last weekend or 2 weeks ago, and they're 13-0 at the moment also. So they're having a great year at the Pies at Don Small Oval. Lake Macquarie gave the Newcastle City third grade a good 52-point beating. Newcastle City second side remain in the hunt for the second or third spot there against Cardiff and beat them quite comfortably. Warners Bay and Terrigal beat the entrance Baddo Bay and Killarney Vale quite comfortably also. With 1 round to go, Wyong is clear. They've got the minor premiership sewn up. Nelson Bay and the Newcastle City seconds on 48. Cardiff with match ratio are on 44. So if they win, I believe they'll go to second. But Nelson Bay will probably hold on to that spot. And Terrigal Avoca and Terrigal Avoca are holding on to their fifth spot as well. But there's a 4-way tie for sixth. And we've got a top 6 in plate. So Lake Macquarie, Warners Bay, Killarney Vale and Singleton are all on 24 points. They all play off against Killarney Vale play Newcastle City seconds. You couldn't see Killarney Vale doing the business there, given Newcastle City seconds run for the year. Terrigal Avoca are playing against Maitland, and that probably will favour that side. And Warners Bay are playing Singleton, so whoever wins that game might sneak in a 6. So it's a real good tussle in that. It's a really good tussle in the men's.
Isn't that just a really interesting, exciting way for our second grade men's competition to finish up for the year?
Yeah, it's a great way to finish. I mean, all competitions. Who might make up? Yeah, and the beauty of it is all competition. Actually, Lake Macquarie Dockers in 6th. And I think I've.
So who's your predictions there, Ash? Who do you think's going to make it? So if I'm getting this right, we're looking at 2 of 4 teams that are on the same amount of points will make the finals, and 2 won't. Is that right?
I believe one's going to go through, and the other 3 are going to say goodbye to the season.
God, that's great.
That's crazy,
great.
Isn't
Good
it?
luck to all of those teams. That pumps me fully. Well done. Yeah. That's great. Look,
I reckon I'd back Warners Bay, to be honest, because Lake Macquarie are playing Nelson Bay next week. So tomorrow. So if I have to pick a side, I'd say Warners Bay or Singleton. Whoever wins it will go in, and it'll be a tremendous performance from either one of them at the end of the day. Because Lake Macquarie. Let's face it. It's been a great season from all of them.
Well, good luck to all of those teams, and particularly those 4 teams fighting out for that last spot. Good news is, one would expect one of those teams will, at least should go up into Cup next year. So one of those sides that misses out might have a better chance next year. So I'm just playing devil's advocate, of course, when I say that, and carrying on with my little I won't say gripe, my little, let's say, crusade that I've had going all year.
Say goodbye to the
don't get me started either, Chop, because I sat there last Sunday in bed doing all the permutations, and you look at where Warners Bay are. They're going to play 1 less game than the other top 4 teams this year, and it's like, why can't we have an 8-team men's cup competition? But we've digressed. Sorry, Ash. Back to.
No, I think it's a terrific talking point.
Yeah, it is, and look, I think when we get to this point here and we see, because it's heartbreaking, we've had a wonderful year of footy, and it's heartbreaking for any side, no matter what, when you just miss out on finals, because that's what we're playing for. And this is the time, I remember it so much from coaching and playing myself, just missing out because of these little deviations in the competition through the course of the year. It's the very reason why I'm passionate about it from the start, and this is when we get to see it. So those sides, I just want to say a little cheerio. Those sides who don't make it, especially for, these type of reasons, don't worry, we feel for you, and we're campaigning to make sure that doesn't, we lessen that impact next year. Those who do make it, well done. Congrats. Yeah. Can't wait to see you fight it out over the next few weeks.
Yeah, well, we've managed to squash out the washout. Now I've got to say sayonara to the bye or something. We've got to come up with something else, I think. We've got to get something else going.
Don't worry, mate. There's always a crusade of some sort in the back of my head.
Very nice, mate. Excellent.
Ash, thanks for that.
And of course, Ash,
that's really exciting.
Of course, our women's game, we were supposed to be broadcasting the cup game out there. Unfortunately, Maitland couldn't get a team together, so we watched the scratch match between the Singleton girls, which was a lot of good fun. Chop, the other thing I saw, apart from a bag in the men's, was I saw 2 players have 4 bounces each across Rose Point Park on Sunday in the women's game. It was brilliant. It was I think they were playing 15 aside, so there was plenty of room on the wings, and there was a lot of bouncing, a lot of running. It was an entertaining game, but we won't dwell on that one, Ashley, because that was just a scratch match. Did you want to do a quick wrap up of the women's plate, or are we jumping into the women's cup?
Yeah, I think, look, women's plate, just to say congratulations to the Wyong Lakes and Lake Macquarie hybrid that have gone through at this stage undefeated with one game to go. And that's a tremendous year from them because they didn't know what was going to happen at the start of the year. And they've seemed to have gelled beautifully and gotten into a 13-0 spot. They've got Beck Ives in the team.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. You know, we saw her in rep footy. She is just amazing. And to have her in plate is just an absolute luck of fortune, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. Ash, do you know any information on that? Is that little venture likely to continue beyond this season, given the success that they've had?
Not exactly sure. I know that Wyong want to try and go. I know, look, both sides are probably in that mode where they want to go on their own right and do things on their own. You never know. And if it's worked well this year, why won't it work next year? And if it builds the game if it builds the game and bridges the gap in that area, well, good. I think it's a great thing. I know I'm not a fan of mergers, but when they work like this, it's great. And good luck to the girls. I think it's terrific. I don't believe they're playing tomorrow. It says the game's been cancelled, but that was cancelled all the way back when. So hopefully Gosford put a team on the park and have a go on Saturday. But I don't believe they will, to be honest. Just having a look at the quick on the ladder there, they haven't played too many games. So I'd suggest Wyong will have a week off.
Yeah, I think
enjoy the week off and probably enjoy the week after that off too, given the way the final series is in the top 6. So, yeah, we've Wyong and Lake Macquarie on 13-0, City on 11-4, Cardiff on 9-5, and Port Stephens on 8-5. They're probably your chances to win. And then in 5th place, Killarney Vale have a losing record of 6-8, and probably one of the more interesting 6th place finishes I've ever seen. Anyway, fellas, the entrance Bateau Bay 2-11, and Terrigal on 1-11. And they both have a mathematical chance of making the final. So Terrigal Avoca are playing Port Stephens, and the entrance Bateau Bay are playing Cardiff. So given their record this year and given the standing of the other two teams, you'd think the entrance Bateau Bay will make it through in a 6th.
Yep. Is that right? So they will make it through to finals on what for and against ratio exactly?
2-11, 2-12 after they probably get beat tomorrow.
I'd love to put the call out to all footy fans across the nation. Have you ever seen a side make finals with that record before? Has it ever happened? I'd love to know. Honestly, wouldn't that be great? I would still be playing footy if I could play finals with that kind of a record.
Absolutely. I do have a true story about a student I used to teach at Muswellbrook when I was teaching over there. He said to me, Mr. Borg, I haven't won a game all year, but I'm playing in a grand final next week. And they got relegated in the final series from 3rd division to 4th, played in a grand final and won a premiership, only having won one game for the year.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
I just couldn't, I literally could not believe it. And I said to the kid, are you fair dinkum? And he goes, absolutely. And I rang his parents and I said, look, are you fair dinkum that young Tyler's going to be in a grand final having not won a game all year? And they said, absolutely. They've relegated the team in the final series to give them all a go. And they ended up winning a game and winning a grand final out of it.
Yeah, wow.
In all fairness, I don't know exactly where I stand on that particular ruling, but they say there's a fine line between genius and lunacy. There's a fine line between miracles and catastrophe as well, isn't there? When you look at that, that's like...
I'm feeling that's a lunacy thing.
Why didn't that ever happen I wish we had more lunacy when I was a football player, I can tell you that.
Now, speaking of entrance Bateau Bay, Bruce is going to be down there tomorrow with the camera. Bruce has given us a cheerio. He's going to see us down there tomorrow. Well, you and me at least anyway, Ash. So shout out to Bruce. We look forward to catching up with you during the course.
Some of the finest imagery we're ever likely to see in our local competition, Bruce. Well done, mate. Can't wait to see more
still imagery, Chop. Come on, video imagery is someone else's domain.
Sorry, yes, I meant to make that very clear clarification. Still photography, you don't get any finer, mate. Looking forward to seeing your final stuff.
Yeah. Now we will be down there, obviously covering the Women's Cup, and Women's Cup was another interesting round over the weekend. We were giving some score updates during the games we were covering, Ash, and. Yeah, there was a couple of interesting results. Did you want to run us through the last week's outcome quickly, and then we'll look ahead to this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we were meant to cover Singleton and Maitland, but Maitland unfortunately had to forfeit due to lack of numbers. Killarney Vale defeated Terrigal Avoca 12-10 to 3-2. Mia Wilson kicked 4 goals and is now within 3 goals of Crystal Brown for the goal kicking award. So that's going to be a big game against City on Saturday.
Did Bubba kick any goals last week, mate?
I believe she got one.
One, all right.
I think she's just given the stream a like too. So a shout out to Crystal. Let us know
and
how
she
many
was taking photos for the other 3 quarters.
Yeah. I've had some great chats with Crystal in recent weeks, or just some messaging back and forth. Crystal's also a wonderful photographer. She's been taking so many of those awesome images that come out on a lot of the Killarney Vale social media stuff, and which is fantastic. As good as any club going around, what Killarney Vale are doing in that respect. So, little cheerio to Bubba. Good luck this week, mate. I hope Crystal's played so well, been such a great addition to the comp. So it looks like they're going to be duking it out at Killarney Vale for the leading goal kicker, are they? Or
yeah, I think they are. So, yeah, Crystal on 35, and then Mia on 32, and it's then another couple back to Kate Handley on 30. So with 5 goals clear, you'd think that Crystal will be sitting in a good spot, subject to Mia not stealing too many tomorrow from her.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be cuddles both ways, regardless.
And then Warners Bay got the Entrance Bateau Bay by 3 points, 2-8 to 2-5. So that was a great game. And gives look it frightens the entrance, but I reckon they'll hold on to 6th spot in Cup because they're still on 20 points. Warners Bay on 16. Couldn't see them winning again. They do have Singleton this week, and Singleton do need to win. And Cardiff. Big game. Cardiff have really set this up for a fantastic Cup women's and men's, Cardiff, because we didn't exactly write them off, but we didn't exactly think about them too much. But they're saying to the boys, they're saying, fellas, we're here and we're in it. Cardiff 3-11-29 defeated Newcastle City 2-3-15.
Yeah,
and
well,
best on ground was the reigning Black Diamond Plate women's best and fairest Taylor Smith, who plays for Cardiff. She's played 8 games for them this year for 8 best on grounds.
Wow.
So look for her. I don't know. It could be a Smoky for the Black Diamond Women's Cup medal award.
Is she the same Taylor Smith that played for Nelson Bay? Is it Nelson Bay or
Port Stevens last year?
Yeah,
and won the medal.
Yeah, an amazing junior player, wasn't she? So
yeah, Australian this year. No, you're right. Yes, exact same player. I asked Matty Plumridge today, is it the same Taylor Smith? And he confirmed it for me. Played in the Australian Championships this year for New South Wales, Coach Talent League for Sydney Swans Academy, and the AFL New South Wales ACT rep squad 3 games. So, and she's managed to fit in a few games for Cardiff this year on the side. So she's going to be one of the big dangers for them.
Is she the laser beam weapon that that Cardiff need to get them over, or has it been the Bar TV commentary crew always sort of saying, Cardiff are great, but I think it might be Killarney Vale, Newcastle City. Do you reckon we've been the motivating force, or is it Taylor Smith, or is it both?
Yeah, we'll take all the credit. If they go through and win the flag, we'll take all the credit for writing them off and saying they had no chance.
Hey, it would be a good chance. Really good chance for us to see them on Saturday tomorrow. I mean, they're playing the Entrance Bateau Bay. They need to win the Entrance Bateau Bay to try to keep the 6th spot definitely, in case Warners Bay beats Singleton tomorrow. But it'll give us a really good chance to see Cardiff try and get top spot, because they win tomorrow and Newcastle City beat Killarney Vale tomorrow. Cardiff are the minor premiers in Cup. Cup
right.
So they want to win. Yeah. They want to win. So, and they can't beat Killarney Vale on percentage. They're about 300% behind. So they need just a few goals down, So they'll need City to do the business against Killarney Vale, which they haven't done all year, mind you, with Killarney Vale beating them, going 2-0 on them all year. So it'll be a really those 2 games, Killarney Vale City and the Entrance Bateau Bay Cardiff, are well worth a look and keeping track on Play AFL, or of course, fellas, Bar TV Sports, the best in the business. Entrance Bateau Bay Cardiff at 1 p.m.
I'll be tuning in 100%.
And we do have Taylor Smith has been named in the Cardiff team for tomorrow, so fingers crossed we get to see her going around.
All right,
and maybe she picks up another best on ground.
You could give her a new nickname, Ash, tomorrow. She can be called Smokey, I think, because it sounds like she might be the Smokey one that'll mix things right up for everybody in the Women's Cup competition. So good luck, Smokey, and everybody else playing tomorrow.
So Smokey Smith on the job for the Hawks tomorrow. I think she's going to be really dangerous in the finals, especially if she can play all three of them.
I remember her being a very highly rated junior player a few years ago, and sort of I'm wondering where she went a little bit actually. But we've had so much talent come up through the women's competition that I didn't do much extra investigation. But there she's been underneath our nose the whole time. So it would be great to see her pop up and really cause have an impact and influence in the finals. Good luck.
Yep. Of course, Clarny Vale will be an interesting game with the City. The other games there, Terrigal Avoca, the Saints. That one's, I suppose it's got some interest, I suppose, for Terrigal about whether they finish 4th or 5th. They're going to be playing the same team the week after, which is Singleton. Singleton are playing Warners Bay. You would have said, I would have thought probably Singleton fairly comfortable there. But Warners Bay had another win last week and probably went against what I would have tipped in. I would have tipped Terrigal Avoca over them. So anything's possible. It's now a battle for 4th, and I think either of those clubs would be pretty happy with a 4th spot, and I think psychologically they'd want to take 4th into the finals, just to say you've made the top 4. And if Singleton do it, well, hats off to them for what has been a tough year after everything they went through last year. If they can get themselves into 4th spot, I think that's an absolutely outstanding result for that club.
Superb. Yeah, superb. Absolutely superb. Definitely. Terrigal have had their hand firmly on that 4th spot all season, haven't they? So
they have,
to come and leapfrog them right, literally on the eve of the finals would be a massive achievement for Singleton, and something I think that would be great for the club. You're pretty close to home there, Ash. I imagine that would be a great thing for the club. We know who the benchmarks standard setters are in women's cup, but beyond that, we're looking at all of those clubs slowly inching their way up and closing that gap, of course. And you'd have to say Singleton have probably been the biggest movers in the competition if they're able to get that 4th spot, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd say so. And look, their under-17 girls team, which is a hybrid with Maitland Saints, have secured 2nd spot on the under-17 girls table this year. So they got the week off this week, from what I understand. And so they'll be giving it everything this week to try and hold on to their 4th spot. It's a great achievement from them. Jackson Channon, he took on a side at the start of the year. A lot of kids, a lot of young girls coming up and playing, and we knew what they could do given their junior form, but could they translate it into senior footy? And they have somewhat. They've done well. It's I want to also give a lot of credit to Newcastle City in this one. I'll say that, because behind the scenes, Newcastle City girls have been going up to Singleton and training with the girls every so often and giving them a bit of mentorship. And
good.
You know what? That's tremendous. For
right?
me, that is just top notch from Newcastle City.
That's
Brett Godfrey brilliant. And the girls, I think it's magnificent. What they've done, I think that's just great.
Oh, mate, I can't commend that highly enough. That's right in amongst, I think, the principles of what we love to see most of all in footy, when clubs who are at the top can extend themselves a little bit and help those ones a bit further down move forward. Hats off to Newcastle City. That's so commendable. Just one quick one. Ash, I don't know if this has got anything to do with the rise of women's footy in Singleton, but I remember watching a news program about 2 years ago that said Singleton had more single men, more financially stable single men than any other town in Australia. It's got nothing to do why it's called Singleton. But is that why? Is it because all the women are playing such good footy that the fellas can't find a nice partner up there?
They're too busy for them. They're too busy for partners up there in the girls, aren't they?
Well, we don't mind as long as they're focusing on their AFL footy, mate. Then we don't mind about that.
That's what I reckon. Nah, they're a great bunch. They had a lot of fun on Saturday, as Shane will attest to. They had a great time playing a scratch match on Bar TV, and Shane was it was terrific for Shane to be able to broadcast that, do a bit of commentary and a bit of voiceover, and having Ball there, Dylan Hickson, the president, who'll be stepping down at the end of the year, do a bit of commentary and having a bit of fun. And I think that was all in the spirit of what it was meant to be. And well done to the girls for having a go and making that happen on Saturday afternoon. I really hope Maitland turn up for their last game against Terrigal. It's been sad for them the last few weeks, just not having the cattle on the park. I know Sasha Grattan, their coach, would be disappointed, especially after the effort we saw against Terrigal Avoca last time on Bar TV and against the Entrance Paddy Bay when they played the Entrance Paddy Bay on TV. But just hope they can keep their cattle and come back for another another crack in season 25.
Well, yeah, and if they do end up forfeiting late, obviously they're still named at the moment. That game will go ahead. That would give Terrigal Avoca 120 point to nil win, which would kind of sort of put the dampener on Singleton's charge through to that fourth spot as well. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But as Ash was saying, it was a wonderful day out there on Saturday, and I just want to give a shout out to everyone at the Singleton Club. I had an absolute hoot. They're probably as far inland as we go in the coverage, and they had some good old-fashioned country hospitality, and I had a wonderful day. Chop, you've done a bit of roving Chop for us. We had Roving Bull there for the women's game. He was actually
Roving Bull.
He was interviewing the players on the field while the game was live. That's the sort of stuff we were bringing to the broadcast on Saturday.
Are you sure? Not to be confused with Raging Bull, of course.
He's a Raging Bull, all right. Don't worry.
He was raging in the men's plate game. That's for sure.
I'd like to know: is there bringing the Rooster Roll back yet up there, Ash?
No, mate. I know my wife was talking about it once when we were looking at the reunion 40-year anniversary last season. We were talking about the Rooster Roll. No one seemed to remember it.
Got to come back. One of the finest canteen items ever known was the Rooster Roll. In fact, it was the one thing that got me out of bed early every time we had to travel all the way to Singleton, was just knowing I was going to get a Rooster Roll that day. So I stopped going to Singleton after that. They took it off the menu.
The chicken burger was pretty good, Chop. They were that good. I had one at lunchtime and one for afternoon tea. So the old chicken burger was good. Maybe not the Rooster Roll, but it was good. Right. Now, setting up the finals, we still have some permutations at play. So Killarney Vale sitting in first, Cardiff in second. But if Killarney Vale lose and Cardiff win, Cardiff will leapfrog into first. So first and second is still up for play. Third is pretty well locked in. Newcastle City will be third. They can't go up. They can't go down. Fourth and fifth is between Roosters and Terrigal. They are both equal on points, with the Roosters holding a fairly decent 16% margin there. So that really comes down to who wins and who loses. If Maitland show up and have a game against Terrigal, who knows what's going to happen there. If they forfeit, Terrigal get a 120-point win. That really puts the pressure on the Roosters to win as well. So there's still a lot to play for there in fourth versus fifth. And then in sixth place, it is a possibility for Warners Bay to get ahead. I think he says, looking at the thing, Warners Bay could leapfrog the Entrance-Battle Bay, but it would be unlikely. They're down by 13% and a game, so they'd need to have a massive win, which probably you wouldn't see happening. So Entrance-Battle Bay should squeak into sixth place, which once again would be a great year for them. Their first year up in play. They've had 5 wins already. They're probably not going to get the chocolates over Cardiff tomorrow, let's be honest. But 5 wins in your first year up. I've loved seeing them play, and a shout out to the Entrance-Battle Bay for making the stand and jumping up in there. They were knocking on the door of the top 4 there for a while. They're going to finish the year in 6th. That's a great effort.
Yep, I think they're a little bit of a inspiration for any club that is looking to go to the next level the next year. I think you look no further than the Entrance-Battle Bay and the way that they've been able to conduct themselves in both men's and women's football in the last 2 seasons. They've never played in the top tier before, in either men's or women's. So last year was the first time for men's, and this year's the first time for their women's. And they have done it with just absolute distinction. They've stepped up. They've taken the tough knocks and the big losses, along with a number of great little W's along the way as well, that are all part of that wonderful club and the great attitude and atmosphere that they've got down there. So any of the other clubs out there not sure whether they want to pull the trigger or take the leap, don't look no further than the Entrance-Battle Bay. They're not, certainly not where they want to be, but nor would anyone expect them to be after 2 short seasons. But they're certainly heading in the right direction. So my hat's off to everybody.
Speaking of good clubs and club legends, here's a stat for you coming up on the screen, guys. Skylar Dunn's playing her 100th game for Maitland tomorrow, and she is the first Saint to hit 100. So,
yeah, beautiful.
Wow, good on you, Skylar Dunn.
Well done, Skylar.
Is she any relation to Luke? Oh, I know they're different.
No, I don't believe so. She played the rep game. I'm pretty sure she was in the rep game.
Yeah, yep, she was.
Very handy footballer and the number one. Number one.
That's right.
That's it. Number one with a bullet.
Yep. Well, so that seems positive that they're going to have a game tomorrow if they're talking up Skylar's 100th. Go, Maitland. So
get on the park, mate. It's awesome. Great for footy.
Here's the code word. Get it done for Skylar Dunn.
There we go. Get it done for Skylar Dunn. Love it. Now let's drifting over onto the men's now. Actually, I know you've got some time constraints, so you want to whiz us through last week's games, and we'll get straight into the men's.
Yeah, mate. Look, Terrigal Avoca 165 gave Kalani Vale a beating by 145 points. Lots of multiple goal scorers, but the main ones, Morgan, 4 goals, Walters 3, and Grim and Lee 3. I had another name there, but that's what happens when you get to the end of a work week and you scribble things down. You can't see Aaron Wright.
Was it Hanson? Was it
Hanson? So Hanson got 3. Yeah, Hanson got 4, and Bury got 3. So Jaden Morgan 4. Sorry, Bury 3, and Grim and Lee 3. So they've had a big day out at Terrigal Avoca. They were in front by 100 points, I'm pretty sure, at halftime. So
wow,
it was looking pretty ominous.
Ash, worth mentioning that the week before, those 3 big goal kickers were not in the Terrigal side that were beaten by Newcastle City in that match. So interesting point, I think, worth making right then and there. Their 3 goal kickers come back in and 12 goals between them. So big difference in that side with them there, isn't it?
I don't think you can I don't think you could read too much into that game a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Especially when I was watching it, I was listening to it on the way home from Sydney, and you were talking about the lack of players in the team, in the Terrigal side. I think Chris Bishop definitely looked at leaving something in the tank. I think there was something on that weekend or something that stopped
they had 12 players out of that game. I know Alex Hazelwood comes back from Europe this week. Whether he comes back, a few kilos bigger or a little sluggish from his too many Kentucky tours, I don't know. I'm not sure how he's going to look.
Maybe a bit lighter after his Kentucky tour, depending on how he went.
Definitely a little more hazy, that's for sure.
Anyhow, I better keep going on that one.
Keep moving. So a big win there to the Panthers.
Warners Bay 104 defeated the Entrance Bateau Bay 34. The Big Dig kicked 4 goals, and he's put himself in an equal third on the goal kicking table with 1 round to go. But he can't kick any more goals because Warners Bay have a bye, so he's done for the season. Unfortunately, he's done for the Morris Goolagong medal. And the match it around clearly. Cardiff 55 defeated Newcastle City 47. And Shane and I followed this really closely on the AFL app, on the Play AFL app. And, City were a lot further behind than that. I believe they're at least 25 points behind at one point against Cardiff.
Wow.
Yeah, one thing that I think is going to do Newcastle City in come finals time is inaccurate kicking. Because if you go through all of their sides this week, they all kicked more behinds than goals. If you go through their second side, just trying to flick through some notes. Second side in plate kicked 12 goals, 20. Their third side kicked 4 goals, 13. And the only team and even Newcastle City women's side kicked 2 goals, 3. So I feel like if they don't get their goal kicking right, even if they play really well up the ground, they're gonna cost themselves a game in the finals.
100%.
Well,
I reckon.
I don't know any boys are watching, but if they can get in the chat window and let us know what Croft's done during the week, has he had you in front of the big sticks all week, or what have you been doing? Let us know.
I reckon for both Cardiff and Newcastle in that game, 8-7, 55 and 6-11, 47 are not going to win a grand final. They're not scores that will win a grand final. So they need to turn to their goal kickers. And both of those sides have got plenty of them and find somehow to make them dig deep. Because right across the field, both of those sides are very good. They can get the ball to their forward line. They are going to really rely on those goal kickers to score them, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're onto it. You're onto something, mate. The scores they're producing at the moment just aren't conducive to winning scores. Whereas Terrigal Avoca, when they win big, and they do it big. They really make a statement. Yeah. And Warners Bay do the same. When they win, they make a statement. I just think if Cardiff, I'm a fan of Cardiff in Cup. Newcastle City, I don't know if I'm starting to jump off them or whether they need to do some tweaking in the next couple of weeks, in real tweaking, goal kicking, because they've definitely got a midfield that can do some damage. Their backline's tremendous, but if Jordan Deere, I mean, those 30 goals, he should be well in front. He should be well in front in the goal kicking the way he's gone this year. I mean, against Killarney Vale, he kicked 4 goals, 6, 7? Yeah. He should be in front in this goal kicking race.
Me and Andy Baldwin are getting tractor shirts made up. Do you guys want one?
I have seen the design for the tractor shirt. Anyway.
The tractor can fly or something on it. I got to say, I won't get off the Newcastle City train because I went in and gave them a couple of their winners the 6-string brewery vouchers at the home game there, and I received probably the greatest rousing reception I've ever had. I didn't even get that when I played 200 games, mate. I didn't even get that when I finally kicked a goal in my third last game of my career. Finally kicked a goal, still didn't get that kind of reception. But I walked into the Newcastle City change rooms and dead set, I said, sign me up, boys, where? Because they even burst into this chop, chop, chop chant that I just can't get out of my head. So thank you, Blues boys. Loved it. Really big. And don't worry, there'll be another 36-string brewery vouchers coming your way this week. Next time you do it.
They're not even covering them this week, Chop. Anyway, I don't know how that
it's going to be tough.
Like,
honestly, the finals race, I don't know. I can't rule anyone out. I don't know if kicking, twice as many behinds as you do goals is going to be good enough.
Yeah, they've got the players that can kick the goals, though, if they can make it. The big Pong, they've got Woodhams, they've got Croft, they've got Jordan, they've got talent if they get it together. Yeah.
If they get it together, they're dangerous,
O'Donoghue as well. He chimes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't forget Ruben Miller. He's on.
Yeah, Joseph and Ruben Miller. Yeah.
So let's have a quick look at the games coming up tomorrow. We are covering the Entrance Batter Bay versus Cardiff. That will unfortunately probably be a little bit one-sided. We've got Killarney Vale who are hosting Newcastle City. We saw that game only a few weeks ago. We're getting another because of the round one scenario. We're seeing them again. Down at Killarney Vale, could you see any change to that result we saw of a big win to Newcastle City from a few weeks ago, or is it going to be another big win to City?
I really think they've got to make a statement this week, Newcastle City, and they've got to do it kicking a lot straighter. I reckon the bigger question we've got on our hands is, will Brendan Lloyd kick enough goals to hold off Jordan Deere?
Yep.
Well, it depends how many times Luke Flack gets hold of it at half-back.
Yeah, look, I'm worried. I'm worried for Spoon. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't think if he's gonna hold on. I think Jordan Deere will get him this week.
Yep. So the other game is Terrigal-Avoca versus Saints down at Hilton Moor. We know the Saints have had their troubles with getting players on the ground. That's probably going to be an easy Terrigal win, I would suggest there as well. So let's have a look at that goal kicking because it is quite interesting. So our man Spoons, he's been holding on now for weeks. We've tipped him to drop off the top. I don't know. I think we've been saying the last 5 weeks, there's no way he can hold on. There's no way he can hold on. He sneaks through, kicks 2 or 3. The whole team's only kick on 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Last round to go, boys. He's on 31. Jordan Deere is on 30. They're both playing each other. Makes it pretty straightforward, doesn't it? Whoever has the best day at one end of the ground could walk away with a Morris Wollongong because the next two players back, obviously, the Big Dig is on 25, but he's out. He won't play because of the bye. And Jake Hansen and Max King are both on 25 as well. So they've got the opportunity to kick a few, but will they kick 6 to overtake those?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's throw a spanner in the works. And I reckon Max King's in for a big day tomorrow. Jakey Hansen could go on fire. You just don't know. They kick 8 to 10 goals. I reckon if any one of these two blokes kicks 8 or 10 goals tomorrow, huge ask. I reckon I'll win it. With 8 or 10?
I've typed up the statistics all year into Chop's computer, and it's worked out a chopperism, not an algorithm. It's a chopperism. And it says Max King's going to kick 15 straight goals tomorrow, and he's going to swamp everybody. Spoons is going to kick 5. Jordan Deere is going to kick 6. Unfortunately, the Dig, he's got other jobs to do, so he'll be out. Jake Hansen is going to kick, I think, 11, and they're all going to finish on equal 36 goals, and then Max King can kick 15 and win by 3.
Yeah, wow.
Happened before.
We've got this recording. We've got this recording, so that's there for if that happens tomorrow. Chop, it's my shout for the Krispy Kreme.
Everyone owes me a Krispy Kreme donut. Everyone.
Chops Damus, mate, instead of Nostradamus.
Oh, no,
so before we look at ladder positions, I want to look. So we have 31 to Lloyd, 30 to Deere, and then 25 to Dignan, Hansen, and King. I want to get you. There's no beating around the bush. Who wins the Goolagong Trophy? Chop, you first.
All right. No beating around the bush. Can I at least do a sentimental and who I actually think?
Okay.
I still can't. I can't even narrow it down to that. You know what? Sentimental is probably Spoons because I've known him for a long time, and I think that'd mean a lot for the the Killarney Vale Footy Club. So sentimentally, I'd like to see Spoons pull it off. I'd like to see him kick 5 goals, and Killarney, even if Killarney, that's all Killarney Vale kick for the day. But I'm a big fan of Jordan Deere. I think he's such a strong player, and he's up there for a certain reason. It'll be one of those 2 players for sure. Commiserations to Billy Towers, who was right in amongst the mix and then got switched to the midfield. Has barely kicked the goal since. So sorry about that, Billy. I actually had you backed about halfway through the year, but unfortunately, Danny Priest had other plans for you.
What about yourself, Borgie? Who are you thinking?
Mate, Joe, I can't see anything but the Tractor chugging on to victory tomorrow in the Goolagong medal. I think Tractor's going to kick 5 or 6 tomorrow if he kicks them straight. He'll get enough service. I think he'll do well, get 5 or 6 goals. I reckon for a smoky, Max King will kick enough goals to surpass Brendan Lloyd in a second. I don't know if Brendan Lloyd's going to get any service tomorrow, or a lot of service.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
Do you reckon this is a sign, fellas? It's old and it's worn out, but I went noodling for opals in Cooperadia a couple of days ago, and look what I found in the middle of the desert.
Oh,
It's
an old
big John Deere.
It's a John Deere. I'm not kidding you. It's an actual John Deere. And I went, look, here, you might be able to see the logo on the side. See it?
Yeah.
Very nice. Boys, I'm also going to take the Tractor Deer. I think he's going to get there. But a shout out to Max King. His 25 goals have come from only 8 games. So, both Jordan and Brandon have played the 13. If you gave another 5 games to Max, I think we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It'd be out and out at Max King Goolagong. So that is interesting. Now, looking at the ladder, I was sending you a message or two there on Sunday morning, Ash. I was lying in bed. I had charts of paper. I had the string on the walls. I was dotting the I's, crossing the T's, trying to work out what the hell can happen. And long story short, there is still really positions 1 through 4 are all up for grabs. So
how good.
It's brilliant.
I'm going to try and explain it. I'm going to try and explain it.
Good.
Cardiff, if they win, number 1. So I think Cardiff playing Terrigal Avoca, we can probably chalk that down. Cardiff will be sitting in first position. So well done, Cardiff. I know we shouldn't celebrate them just yet, maybe, but they're looking good for the minor premiership. Warners Bay are second, but they don't play a game. They do also have a different match ratio because they'll only play the 14 games. The other 3 teams will play the 15 games. Yep. Kind of messes things up, but I don't think it's going to come into play. On paper, Newcastle City will win. They'll leapfrog Warners Bay, go into second place. Terrigal Avoca should also win against Maitland. They'll then go up to be equal on points they'll be behind City on points, but they've got the game in hand from the cancelled game. Now, looking on PlayFL, that game is now saying cancelled. So I think that means it's just gone. There's no points, is how I'm interpreting it. So they'll end up with just the 14 games, much like Warners Bay. Have you heard any different to that?
No, I haven't heard anything, mate. Sorry, no.
Well, look, my understanding is that they wanted to play it. They want to play it, but it's been marked as cancelled since pretty much the week the round went by. So I figured that didn't actually come into play. I figured we could have an interesting situation where they might be able to choose whether they want to play it or not based upon where they're at. But what does that mean if they play it?
So let me put it to you this way. Let's assume that they win tomorrow and City win tomorrow. So City are a game clear.
Yeah.
And that would mean Terrigal Avoca would be in third place.
Right.
So they would probably sit in third place above Warners Bay. They're 1% up at the moment. So assuming they won, they're not going to go backwards in percentage in theory.
Yep. That's right.
So they would be in third. They can't get to second unless they play that game against Killarney Vale. But you've got 7 days until you play your first final.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do?
Would you want to play a game on a Wednesday night? I don't even think I'm assuming it's not going to happen. And they'll just end up with 14 games, much like Warners Bay.
This is a great question because to play it and win, they get a double chance in finals. To not play it and have 7 days rest, they don't get a double chance and they come up against who is it be? It'll be
Warners Bay.
Warners Bay. Now, that's arguably probably based upon last week's rounds. That's arguably probably the fancied round to watch in the first week of finals between those two sides. What do you do? That's a big question, and I want to know this too, fellas. should it be up to the club to make that decision, or should the league have made this decision long ago?
Well, we don't. I'm going to say I don't know, and maybe the league already has. Maybe that cancelled means it's cancelled. No one gets the points. They sit on 14 games, which is the same as Warners Bay. I mean, there's no disadvantage if you look at it that way, because Warners Bay will have played the same amount of games as Terrigal Avoca, and they'll finish third and fourth. So that once again, this bye round is messing with everything. And we've got to say goodbye to the bye.
I feel like they should have just been. I feel like they should have played it. They could have played it any time in the last, I don't know, midweek or something like that. They had plenty of. I feel like they've had their opportunity to play this game, and if they were going to play it, they should have played it yesterday or the day before, and had that sort of Wednesday, and then go into the Saturday, or lobby to maybe make it a Sunday game this week, so that they can have a few days between games. I don't think it does them any favours playing a game midweek next week, going into a final.
Into final, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd rather, if you're going to do it, you should have done it last week.
If you're a coach, would you, and you had the option, would you opt to go, you know what, let's just take our chances with just the one do or die match?
I feel like if Bishop got his team balances right, I feel like he could go out and manipulate that side and still get a victory over Killarney Vale at this time of the year, given Killarney Vale's injuries, their squad issues, all of those things that teams had to go through this year. I feel like Terrigal Avoca have enough squad depth to be able to go, let's play midweek and manipulate our squad enough to try and get some rest into some players that we need rest into, and bring some players in, the fringe players, give them a chance. Oh, here we go. It was scheduled to be played Thursday night, but it was
rained out. They did try and play. They played the Wednesday night for the women, and then they were going to play the Thursday night for the men, and the women got their game in, but the men missed out because it rained again. So they did try and get it in there. So
washed out like our season, Derek, the Collingwood side, mate. Yeah, washed out like our season, my friend.
Thanks for that info. Myself and Alex Tigani actually went along to watch that game. Watched the Terrigal. We saw the girls play the night before, and then we were disappointed that because I don't know, it could have been played, but this is, I guess, without going too far down that track, it's exactly the thing that the league needs to address at the end of the year, because it shouldn't come down to this. I don't want to be controversial, but it shouldn't be come down to this at this point in time. It certainly shouldn't come down to whether clubs get to make that determination of whether they play or not based upon what's going to be in their best interest come finals. This should have been nutted out a long time ago, because there's good reason for any of the other finals teams to sort of say, well, hold on a minute. Finals are in part manipulated here as to, where someone's going to finish at the end of it. So, and it is true. And Mako Leecroft plays his 100th tomorrow. Good on you, Derek. What a gun he is too.
Yeah. And one of my favourite defenders.
He's played through just about everything, Mackenzie Leecroft, and I'm going to be a little cheeky and say he got a suspension for what I thought was one of the best retorts I've ever heard on football, ever on a football field. But I'm saying that.
Well, let's not repeat that on this show then, by the sound of it, Chop. If it got him a suspension.
I did hear that retort too, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I don't want to be controversial, but if you're getting reported for that, you get reported 10 times a game. Some people.
Okay, right.
But anyway, I'll leave that one go.
Ash, when we're off the air.
I'll leave that one go. If you're going to get reported for what
a footy
Macca
retort.
said, then...
I know. One of the best retorts I ever heard was when Chris Judd was playing the West Coast Eagles when he'd first gone back and had a game, started playing with Carlton. And I think it was Adam Selwood sort of sneakily was playing on him and gave him a bit of a rough up and said, still wearing those straps around your shoulders, I see, Juddy. And he goes, yeah, that's from carrying you pricks for the last 7 years. I thought that was great.
Listen, we are running towards the end of time, and obviously I've got to get away. Ash has got to get away. Corey's, it's not even probably 5 o'clock over there, isn't it?
I've got to tie dinner upstairs, mate.
But I haven't even had lunch.
I don't want to get too far ahead of things, but I want to pose the tough question to you. I've given you the tough question on the goal kicker. I want to look now to next week's, on the assumption that Cardiff play Newcastle and Terrigal Avoca play Warners Bay. I want to hear who the two winners are. Chop, I'm starting with you. Who wins Cardiff versus Newcastle?
Newcastle.
And who wins Terrigal versus Warners Bay?
Warners Bay.
Ash?
I'm sticking with the Panthers against Warners Bay. They haven't lost to them all year. I don't think they'll do it in a final. Bishop will have something up his sleeve.
And Cardiff and the Blues?
Cardiff and the Blues, goodness. Depends on how Newcastle City kick in front of goal.
I didn't know we could have it depends. I wanted to
get off the fence, Ash.
Cardiff.
And I think I'm going to complete the combination. I'm going to go Cardiff and the Bulldogs. So I think that we've kind of all got we've got the chance to all equal it, or someone's going to go crazy and get both of them up. So obviously we'll talk more about that next Friday night, though, because we've still got a game tomorrow. We are covering the game from the entrance Baddo Bay down at I forgot the name of the street of the Oval.
Passage Road.
Anyway, Passage Road.
Passage Road.
We'll be down at Passage Road tomorrow from 1 o'clock for the Women's Cup game, followed at 3 o'clock for the Men's Cup. That's Ashley and myself, of course. Chop's not driving over from Perth tonight. He's going to
they won't let me. They won't let me do the overnight haul. Apparently, you can't do it. It's physically and geographically impossible. But I would if I could. But I'll be back midweek next week. I've got a whole week of just sitting on the beach at Scarborough, enjoying sunshine, which is what we do over here in winter. And doing a whole lot of content that I've missed out on being able to do on the travel over the Nullarbor. So thanks for being patient. Can I just say one little cheerio at the end of it, Shane, tonight?
Yeah,
I just want to say, just very quickly, this being the last round of home and away rounds, I just want to say a massive thank you and congratulations to everybody out there associated with our Football League who have pulled on a jumper or a pair of boots or a runner's shirt or have cheered on or chalked up or pressed a button or turned a snagger or anything that you have done that's helped our league. We've had some tough seasons, and this has easily been the best season since the AFL have taken over, and we desperately needed it. And it's come down to all the wonderful support and contributions we've had from administrators to players to coaches to supporters to the staff, everybody who's ever put a finger in the pie at all for our Black Diamond competitions this year. Yep. Thank you from the bottom of our heart, and thank you for supporting what we've done on Bar TV this year. It's been an absolute ball, a riot for me. I've had a mad time this year. It's been great. Can't wait to do it all over again. I'm somebody who relies on footy to keep my feet fairly firm on the ground, and thanks to everybody out there, I feel more sure-footed than I've felt in a long time. So thank you, everyone out there, Black Diamond competitions, AFL HCC. It's been a ripper, and good luck to everybody continuing on with the finals from here on in. And for those who are playing their last game, well done. We'll see you again through the finals and next year for sure. But it's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege, fellas. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I couldn't say it any better, Chop, mate. I'd love to shout out to a real stalwart of the AFL Hunter Central Coast Black Diamond AFL. Remiss of us to miss out on Jason Van Dam's 300th game last week. What a performance from one of the most talented, gutsy, determined footballers in our region. And I umpired a lot of games he played. Got a great mouth on him. Same with Peter. But geez, they're top blokes. And honestly, it's guys like Jace that have, kept Terrigal Avoca going over so many years and supporting Bish. And, mate,
isn't that wonderful?
Can't speak any higher of him. He's just a terrific human being and a terrific footballer. And congratulations to him on a magnificent milestone.
300 games, Ash. On that note, I remember when Jason Van Dam was still just a little skinny whippersnapper and probably my height at one stage, believe it or not, and wanting to have his first grade game and not getting selected. And I watched him chuck a big nana. He had the biggest tantrum ever because he never got selected to play senior footy. It was bigger than anything I've seen his brother do, and they can chuck some Van Dam of nanas, those two. But ever since then, he's been nothing but a respectful, determined and committed football player. I'm happy to say he's a good friend of mine. It's somebody I admire highly. So 300 games gives him life membership of the league, doesn't it?
Believe so, yeah, with Drano and Daryl Luck and
and his brother
Peter Van Dam. Yeah.
His brother got it last year. That's right.
Yeah, so for the 300, yeah. And
thank you for mentioning that, Ash. I would have forgotten that, but yeah.
Nah, it's all right. Another big one too last week. We had 3 blokes represent New South Wales ACT in the under-17s. Against Vic Country. So Max King, Caden McNamara from Terrigal and Reeve Simmons from Killarney Vale.
Wow.
All played against Vic Country on the weekend. So how good's that from our comp to have three in that area?
Yeah. How'd they go?
Couldn't tell you. Well, we can ask Max tomorrow, Shane, if you get a bit of a gauge, and might even see if we can get him on camera at halftime of the women's game or something, and have a chat to him, because it'd be interesting to find out how he went. Because, geez, I mean, those three guys, you know, in line for Rising Star or Young Footballer of the Year, are sure.
One of them. Do you reckon they'll all...
Sorry?
Do you reckon they all get along well enough for a chat on the grill together? On gas, a bit more gas.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, well, Reece Simmons and Max King play together for Cardiff in the 17s, don't they? So
yeah, and they're all that's right. They're all teammates. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
all right, boys. Mark it in your Palm Pilot. Chop's hunting you down.
Hope you're having a safe trip, mate. Keep having a safe trip. We'll see you next week, Chop.
Yeah, thanks, Ash.
Look forward to it, brother.
Thanks, boys. Doing a great job holding the fort while I'm away. Look, let's face it, I'm the one who just about makes it collapse every week anyway.
I reckon this is probably the best picture and sound quality we've had from you all year, Chop. So there you go. Whatever you're doing over there, you're doing it well.
Saying stay over in the West, Chop. Mate, something about being in the West brings out the best in everything I do. So.
No, don't stay over there, mate. We miss you. We want to see you. We're looking forward to next week. Bro. Ashley, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm going to be down there at Passage Road with yourself. We'll have all the coverage from 1 o'clock, live, exclusive, and in high definition on Bar TV. Thank you, everyone, for dialing in. Until tomorrow or next week, we'll see you all later.
I can smell it, Shane. I can smell it. Finals.
Good umpires say, may your balls bounce straight and high, everybody.
Night, boys.
See you, fellas.
See you,